What's going on, New Fighting Order fans? We back, bitches. We back like the Juggernaut, bitch. This is Alex Lexus, Nelson Rios, executive confused. You messed me up. Who said what? Anyway, yeah, I'm trying to pass the buck. Executive producers of the New Fighting Order podcast show. Today is a special show because we have a vast majority of our people here. We have Shinwar, our distinct guest. Actually, his first podcast with us, so I want y'all to welcome him. On Your Knees, Brother Nuke, Demizzle, we're all here, and we're coming at you with another episode. So, going around the table, Nelson, how was your day today?
My day was pretty shitty, just to let you know that. Had no sleep, working, all that other stuff. Other than that, just shit.
All right, Nelson. Life is rough, man. It's all good.
Oh, yeah.
All right. On Your Knees, how was your day, bro?
Same shit, different day. That's just how it is.
All right. What about you, Demizzle?
You know what I think, yo?
What's that?
I think we need a Rogaine sponsorship because we got 3 ball members, man. For real.
Wow.
Rogaine doesn't work on receding hairlines.
You talking to me because I'm losing my hair? All right, Demizzle. It's all good. And Brother Shinwar, your first podcast.
Gone.
Alex, how can you lose something you lost years ago?
Oh. Your hair was gone by graduation, man. Come on, for real.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Look. All right, I tapped. All right. Now, you see, this is the zoo. That's the NFO podcast. But it's for Shinwar, being that this is his first show. Let's ask him how he's doing today, Brother Shin.
What's good, man. I'm good. What's up, man? I'm good.
All right, finally, we got him on the podcast, so he's on his iPad. He's an iPadder. Just so y'all know. But anyway, kicking off the topic, today is 3 subtopics into one major topic for Microsoft. Now, apparently, it's been circulating the internet that Mr. Flip at the Mouth guy at Microsoft got himself fired. So
Adam Orn.
So we're gonna go around the table, but Demizzle, I'm gonna let you go first and On Your Knees. Shed some light on what's happened with, this guy running his mouth on Twitter. Getting fired. I mean, go ahead.
For those who don't know the story, the once head of Microsoft community director went off on Twitter about how he wanted. Even though it wasn't official company policy yet, he supported the always on, and he got called on it by a bunch of people on Twitter, including a developer at BioWare. So he went off on this Twitter's it was a big back and forth between these two guys, with Adam Orff pretty much disparaging people like myself who don't live in areas with reliable high-speed internet. If you want high-speed internet, you should just move to a place that does have high-speed internet. And so he pretty much ran off at the mouth and subsequently was asked to resign, but everybody knows he actually got fired for that Twitter rant.
Oops.
Pretty much.
But, well, okay. So On Your Knees.
That's what you gotta think of. That's what you gotta think of when you run off at the mouth on Twitter. Don't get fired. That's if you work for somebody, don't get fired.
Yeah, here's the thing. Another thing before I give On Your Knees a minute. You see, the way he was coming off in a way where it was just so what? Deal with it type. And you can't do that to your soon-to-be market who's going to supposedly buy the new system. Now, look at how Capcom, and one thing, as fucked up as Capcom has been acting, you see how they tried to save face across Tekken, right? They did everything humanly possible to try to make a turnaround with updates, pushing the release of the 12 DLC or dislike characters up. You know what I mean? BioWare, look at how they try to make amends with, Mass Effect and all of that. If you really care about your consumers, if you're a global conglomerate like Microsoft, the last thing you want to do is put your user base off like that. And to say something like just deal with it, you're pretty much saying, hey, fuck you guys. We don't care if you don't have reliable internet. For soldiers who are deployed overseas that don't have like the speeds, like remember, like Shinwar and I were playing Marvel vs. Capcom 3 when I was in Iraq. And he was the only person I can get a decent enough connection to only have it spotty along. You know what I'm saying? So they just, I don't know. I'm glad that they took swift action and got rid of him, because with that whole I don't give a damn type stuff, they can be like, hey, fuck you guys. You know what? I'm not going to buy a Microsoft system. Go to Sony. You know what I mean? So that cancerous behavior or way that you approach people is going to put people off. I had to check somebody today at work for doing that stuff. But anyway, on your knees, what are your thoughts on this guy getting fired?
Not a surprise at all. I mean, these people got to realize that if you're the public face for Microsoft, essentially, even if it's a joke, like what he claimed it was, an inside joke with one of his alleged friends, you can't be saying shit like that. You know, they're already getting enough bad press because they're not releasing anything. They want to hold off until their announcement next month. Yeah, and he goes running off. Oh, you just what do we have here? His electricity goes out too, or his hashtag deal with it nonsense. So I hope he learned his lesson, and good luck finding a new job there, buddy.
Well, he learned a hell of a lesson, and it's, irreversible at this point. But, Brother Shinwar, what are your thoughts on Adam getting fired from Microsoft for those stupid comments on Twitter?
It was very arrogant, what he said. Was it confirmed that he was fired? Because last time I read it, they said they wasn't sure if he left or he was
asked
fired.
to resign. That's corporate speak to...
Yeah, right.
Yeah, get your ass out the door or we'll fire you publicly. So that was his way to bow out with having a fired on his resume.
Right. I think the comment was very arrogant because he's basically telling people this is what it is. He basically confirmed the rumors and to deal with it. And in return, that's what happened. So best of luck to that guy. That's it.
So, I also wanted to give a shout out to Black Dragon. He actually sent me his video on YouTube, and he had me cracking up. He was just like, you know what? How about this? Deal with the fact that you're fired. Deal with the fact that you don't have a job. Deal with it. You don't work for Microsoft anymore. Deal with it. Good points, and shout out to you, Black Dragon. I had to make sure that I gave you props on that, because that's what kind of gave me the motivation to make sure that we got this done today. But Brother Noop, what are your thoughts on Adam getting fired from Microsoft?
Whenever you're involved in a profession and you work for a prestigious organization or whatever company you work for, has a name that people know, you have to remember no matter what, whether you want to or not, you are representing that company. You know what I mean? And whatever you say is going to be a reflection of that company, because they look at him and they say, dang, that's what everybody at Microsoft is probably saying. So that was an embarrassment to Microsoft, and he got what he deserved. That's bad for business.
Absolutely. And last but not least, Nelson, what are your thoughts on Mr. Adam being given the field goal punt or the field goal kick from across the football field?
Well,
A field goal punt, really?
he deserved what he got, because he's been doing this on more than one occasion, and he's been doing this on Twitter, he's been doing this on Facebook, and he's been doing this also on some of the forums. So for his reckless ass actions and the way how he was trying to handle things and try to bring down the fan base of Microsoft of what's going to be happening with the new Xbox, it is what it is. Good riddance. You could always be replaced. That's how I see it. Perfect example when they try to replace people at Capcom. Same thing when they try to replace people at Infinity Ward. Anyone could get replaced. So you wasn't even, to me, a popular figure to begin with, and I didn't even care of you. So you just get out. Next person comes in. That's it.
Yeah. I think, and just in hindsight, before we switch to the next topic, is the fact that you must stay positive with your user base. You don't want to discourage them from buying your product.
That is true.
And in essence, I think that what him being removed was Microsoft's like, okay, look, we gotta, do damage control. It's out there that this ugly rumor about an always online system and blah, blah, blah. That's the last thing they needed. One of their inside people, making things look bad for them. All right. So with that being said, switching to gear number 2, the rumor about, it's all but confirmed, but the next Xbox is going to require internet connection which is going to constantly authenticate the game, so that after 3 minutes of, let's say you pull your Ethernet cord out, or let's say your router died.
What is a blackout?
Or blackout, after 3 minutes, if it doesn't do a check, the game will stop or it'll cease to work. No. That is bad. That's the worst thing you can do. The console is not a PC. It's not like Steam or anything like that. Steam, yeah, you need to be online for whatever reason. Fine, fair enough. You know what I mean? Computers ordinarily now aren't really used unless they're online. Yes or no?
Right.
So that's a bad move, if that is to be. Microsoft hasn't, officially put things out there yet. We're getting information from the past. I remember EA developers were saying, hey, you know what? It's going to require online. And they were saying the same stuff that was said way back when the news first broke. So it was almost as they were reiterating what the internet was putting out there. So until we hear from Microsoft on May 21st, we can't really speculate too much. But if that is indeed the case, that's going to be bad. That's going to be really bad.
And you know what's funny? No, and I agree.
Ahead,
real quick,
Yeah,
there were numerous developers that confirmed that as well. But it's funny because originally their press conference was supposed to be this month, and they moved it to May 21st, I believe. Why they move it? I wonder why. What if
last
they
minute
went
changes
back and changed? Exactly. So we'll see.
Yeah, because their press conference got pushed back by 1 month. 1 month. Now, if the system is still in dev state, or if it's still like in that state where, all right, they can still make some changes before they mass produce it, they might be able to rectify that wrong. But Brother Noob, what are your thoughts on this always online requirement rumor for Microsoft?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Alright, making sure. Always online. That is one of the worst ideas I've ever heard for a game console. Yes, a lot of the items and things that we own are on and always online, but it's because, like a computer, most of the things that you're going to do with a computer are online. And, like, what if I'm a person who travels? What if I'm going to grandma's house or something like that? And like Dave said earlier, everyone doesn't have awesome internet. Like, I have the second most expensive internet I can get with the company I'm with right now, and it's still not even that good because that's just the area that I'm in. So, a constant internet connection. I want to know if they say, okay, you need a constant internet connection for this console, why and what are the benefits of that is what I want to know. What am I gaining from that?
And you know what? To respond to that, Brother Noob, Shinwar and I were discussing that offline somewhere in reference to if the rumors about it trying to replace cable set-top boxes, that's probably one reason why that it would need to be online in order to use the cable TV functionalities, which are rumored to be coming to the system, especially with the HDMI in.
The HDMI
port.
in, yep.
So that's something where, like you can't use the cable TV function if it's not hooked up. You get what I'm saying? But, giving Demizzle a chance before I give On Your Knees and Nelson. Demizzle, what are your thoughts on the always online requirement rumor for Microsoft?
Well, according to news that just came out on VG.com today, that's not the case. That it won't be always online. That's probably, as Shinwar said, reason why they walked back their press conference to May 21st instead of this month. Also, it's like they more than likely saw the problems that EA had with SimCity and Diablo had with Diablo 3 with it necessarily being online all the time, and they was like, you know what, we can't do this. And plus, it's not a hard thing to remove because all it is a firmware thing. They can just rewrite some code and like, hey, just don't connect to the server to authenticate. It's not a very hard thing to implicate or take away. So they're just shoring it up, making sure that it works properly before debuting it on the 21st. But according to news today from VGLeaks.com, no online requirement.
Okay.
Wow.
Before I give On Your Knees his turn, if Microsoft had stuck to their guns with that, hackers would have had a field day with the new Xbox. Bottom line. They would have found a way to block that and then just do it like JTAG. You know what I mean? That system would have been raped 6 days from Sunday, and people would still got their hands on the game. There's nothing that Microsoft can do at this point in terms of stopping that. It's just, they got to realize when you kind of back people into a corner, they're going to get desperate, and they're going to find ways to enjoy themselves at their expense for doing something that stupid. But On Your Knees, what are your thoughts on the online possible requirement?
Definitely not a good idea. To go back to a previous point, Steam doesn't always have to be online. You just have to be online to install the games and authenticate them the first time.
Oh.
You can play offline after that. So if your internet's real shitty, you just need to be on long enough to install your game, and you're good to go. But
Once a month.
Yeah, but you're going to be online once a month anyway, for the most part. But with the whole Microsoft thing, it's hard to tell what they're doing. I would not put it past them that they want to be always online because they always want to exert more control over your living room experience, as they like to put it. Considering they pushed it back a month, it could be any number of things from them polishing the hardware, or even it's like, shit, we probably shouldn't do this. What do we have to do to fix it? Because if they're at that point where they can make these big changes like that, I probably wouldn't expect the console this year, but, until they actually give any final announcements, we can't really rely on anything. It's all rumors and speculation. But until we hear anything from Microsoft, the fact that they're not saying anything doesn't bode well for this. But who the hell knows what's going to happen next?
Okay. Before I give the floor to Nelson, another thing popped up into mind, and it's something that Shinwar said that made me think of this. What if Microsoft saw Sony's press conference and all of a sudden want to beef up their system? You know what I mean?
Can I interject right there?
Yeah, go ahead.
And I was about to jump on that. If you look at it, May, they said they're doing their conference, whatever, and that's right behind E3 in June. Is it June? Or is it July? When's E3?
No, it's the first week of June.
June and Build, which is another conference, so that's back to back. So there's no month in between. So that's like just more steam rolling in right into the next conference. So, hey, I think the marketing strategy is pretty good, but we'll see.
And I'm thinking also, too, that the whole negative press behind the system is actually drawing more attention to it.
Yep.
Similar to like the whole Tomb Raider Lara Croft when people were thinking she got raped. Or the whole thing with the Hitman and how they had the nuns all up in like leather with killing people and stuff. Like negative publicity is good publicity, and people are going to be watching. They're going to say, hey, what is Microsoft doing? I know I'll be watching, and I know everybody in the panel will be watching. So brother Nelson, what are your thoughts on the online?
All right.
What's so funny?
For me to
Yo, that's
this,
so. Yeah, go ahead. I'm
to
sorry.
answer this better, I'm gonna say it as coming from a tournament organizer and a tournament event holder. This would be bad for us in general, because if we're required to have an online connection at all times for all of our Xbox 360s or vice versa, it's gonna cause a lot of issues, and we don't have the time nor money to be investing into something extra when we could just buy the console, set it up, mount it, you're good to go. It always could be accessible everywhere you go. Not every place, not everyone can get a 4G wireless connection or a wireless connection at a hotel that's actually to, a good standard. So to me, it's a horrible fucking idea. And something also, I believe it was either I don't know, Noop or Demizzle, I don't really remember. If you have the always online, and let's say the Xbox server shuts off, how are you going to play your games? If it's required for online.
Exactly.
How are you going to play your games?
Exactly.
So you're basically making
when they're doing maintenance.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So you're going to make me waste my money for your
Matter of fact,
steak? Come on.
Also, one more thing, like when they eventually stop supporting the console, you eventually invested in a brick and thousands of dollars worth of useless software because you won't be able to play it anymore because the servers will be down.
That too.
Exactly.
A lot of people.
Exactly.
Talk to THQ about that.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. Goodness gracious. And you know what? Just to add, those of you, if you were following what happened with Diablo, that whole fiasco with Era 37, that was an ugly situation. Some people are hot, especially that dude on Angry Joe's show. He's just like, I want to play my game. I waited 12 hours in line. I'm like, whoa, dude.
Yo, that was the same guy that broke his Xbox.
Yo, that big dude, right? Dang,
that was
I mean.
The sad thing is Diablo 3 wasn't even that good to begin with.
Yeah, all that for nonsense. You know what I mean?
It was 8 years too late. That was the problem.
Disagree with you, man.
That game was 6 or 8 years too late. That was the problem.
What happened?
That game came out 8 years ago. It would be fine, but it came out 10 years. It took 10 years for that sequel. It wasn't even that good.
Like a Duke Nukem. It's like the hype and the build-up. Yeah, we want the game, and then,
unlike Duke Nukem, it wasn't in development for 10 years.
Hold up, I heard
Duke Nukem that's a whole other issue.
No, it's about Diablo 3 and everything, and the always online, and just how,
Diablo 3
just.
is such a good game to me. To me, it's a really good game. But that always online compatibility shit.
What is that?
Somebody.
That was my phone. My bad. That was my phone. Hey, another thing.
Unbelievable.
Right.
Oh, my God.
Wait, really? Well, that's that Lucchini. Chill out. All right. So another thing I wanted to say about that. The purpose online is to authenticate the game to your console, correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
So that means only that game can only be used on your console?
Supposedly.
That would be the theory.
Yeah.
Supposedly. And that would pose a huge issue because that means the only thing you can do is buy games. I can't borrow my friend's game. I can't rent games. That's
they want you to
that's
trade
the whole
it in.
blocking out used games thing. That's the whole
Hashtag deal
thing.
with it, guys. Seriously, come on.
All right, now.
Yeah,
that, and
Instantly.
remember we were talking about that a few episodes ago on, that's going to be a big change, and the studios got freaking greedy, and they're making money hand over fist. They make video game industry game sales make more than blockbuster movies, and yet everybody has to buy a brand new game every time. You don't see these studios going and charging people extra while it's on TV. It's like, let's say The Matrix comes out, it's on WPIX. They already made their money off The Matrix. Why are you siphoning out any more? You know what I mean? They want to get every little drop out of the lemon. They're squeezing it real good.
And I told you right now, if they do it, we need to come out with NFO magazine and do video game reviews because everybody's going to be reading them. If you know you got to spend $65, $75 on the game, you're going to want to know everything about it before you drop that money, knowing that once you buy it, it's yours forever.
Exactly.
That's a lot of money.
65 already a lot.
Yes, and remember in the podcast we were talking about the possible increase to the games. Like, it's crazy. It's like, wow. But anyway, shifting to the next topic, and this is the last topic for this particular thing. You see, New Fighting Order fans, brother New, that smart brother right there. He think he funny, but he a smart brother.
Really?
All right. But now, brother Demizzle gave me some info on the backwards compatibility. Did I say something funny?
Shut up, bro.
What's going on?
Really, guys? Really?
Yeah. Yo, but they're talking about the backwards compatibility for the new Xbox. Now, Demizzle told me that Microsoft does indeed have a strategy for how they're going to address this. So, Demizzle, share the information that you were able to grab for us.
All right. Similar, like how we talked about with PlayStation, how PlayStation 4 is going to handle their backwards compatibility is they're essentially going to do a cloud-based service where you can buy PlayStation 3 games from their cloud-based service. So essentially, you're going to have to rebuy any PlayStation 3 game that you want to play on the PlayStation 4. Microsoft is going in a totally different direction. They're going to have like a slimmed down version of the 360, essentially a set-top box that's akin to Google TV and Apple TV. And the set-top box can do games on demand style. So if you want to do it like that, you can do it like that. But an interesting thing is that the set-top box can also hook up into the new Microsoft system. So if you put a 360 game into the new Microsoft system, it'll recognize it and play your 360 game on the new Microsoft system. So you won't have to buy.
Wait a minute. That's like a 32X Genesis and Sega CD type of thing.
Like it's sort of like that. It's sort of like an add-on, but instead of having to rebuy games that you already own, you'll have to pay like $99 or $129 for this set-top box if you want to do backwards compatibility.
No.
So
I think that's crazy.
No, you'll be able to use Xbox for a lot less than that at that time anyway.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Why would they do this? How could they do this?
Is it going to do will it do anything else besides the old games, or is that all it's going to do?
It's a set-top box like Apple TV and Google TV, so it'll do like the cable stuff, games on demand, stuff like that. It'll do what those services can do essentially, but in addition to that, if you have the new Microsoft machine, instead of like rebuying all your games like Sony wants you to do, you can just hook this up and just pop in your 360 disc and it'll play. So essentially, like if you have a large game library like I do or Chris does or any one of us does, spending $99 or $129 isn't a bad deal than spending potentially hundreds of or thousands of dollars to play your old library on a new system like Sony wants you to do.
You know what? Let me jump in here.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go finish on your knees.
I was going to say,
I'll jump in after.
If it's going to have the same functionality like, was it Apple TV or Roku or anything like that, then it might actually be worth that money, because if people don't already have those, they can get that full functionality and play their old games. So we have to see what they're going to do, but it may actually be not too bad.
All right, you know what, Nelson? Now I'm gonna give you the floor before I give Noop and Shinwar. But Nelson, wow, this. I don't know how I feel about this, but what are your thoughts?
I don't think they should make it as like two different things, because it's just gonna complicate things for people who's also a casual gamer and trying to get into the gaming. Just build the whole thing into one corporated system, and then just like that's it. Just either say, okay, we'll have two bundles. We'll either have like let's say a 300 gig bundle that comes with the backwards compatibility, or we'll have a 60 gig bundle that doesn't come with the backwards compatibility. Don't make it too confusing, because to my knowledge right now, what I'm thinking, if it's something that mounts on top of the actual new device, you're gonna make the device even hotter, and you're gonna make the processors like overburn itself out. You're gonna make it work. Like,
I don't think it'll be something.
But that's gonna.
I don't think it'll be something that mounts on top.
That's gonna be going too crazy with it though. Like, come on. Like, that shit's gonna be.
You know what?
And it's always gonna need to be like ventilated and cooled down all the fucking time. That's gonna be too much. That's like over.
You know what? Yeah, to interject, Nelson, what I think is a bad idea that is something separate from the system, because you're going to split the market.
Exactly.
You're gonna have people going here and there and all that. The new system is coming with a Blu-ray drive. Put this shit in there. You know what I mean? Is it because the Blu-ray drive is not going to recognize the DVD 9s that the Xbox was using?
Well, can I interject?
Yeah, go ahead.
I remember reading it's a different architecture with the games. So I believe it's was it times 86?
It's like this. The Xbox operates off an our PC model, a tri-core processor. The new architecture is an AMD x86 architecture. So in order for them to do backwards compatibility, they would essentially have to stuff the old Xbox 360 hardware into the and that would essentially make the system a lot hotter, and it would cost a lot more to manufacture.
They ain't gonna do that.
So it would be simpler to include this like small set-top box if you want to go that route.
It's just messy. It's messy how they're handling it. Go ahead, brother Noob.
The thing I don't like is, I don't want my TV to be cluttered with a bunch of boxes. I mean, for that, you want to give me a set-top box that can read my old games. I mean, I have a system already. So, honestly, I would probably just pull out my 360 or just leave my 360 out rather than spend another $100 for something I already have, because my 360 essentially has all the functionalities of this box that's coming out. And then, like you say, the 360 games would be so cheap by then. And another thing I'm thinking is, like y'all saying split the market. That's correct. You're splitting the market because when you think about when the 360 came out, they did a regular Xbox. They killed it. Like, they pulled it out of stores. Like, I remember GameStop, you could not find Xbox games anywhere. So you had to play 360 if you wanted your hand on Xbox content. So I was wondering if they were going to do that again, too. Just to force you to that.
I don't think they can do it this time because there's too many killer apps. And the Xbox 360, as opposed to Xbox One, has almost 10 times the amount of content library that the original Xbox had. So it was in Microsoft's best interest to stop burning resources on the original Xbox and just push everything into the 360, which actually worked out for them because that system did monumentally better than the original Xbox because they finally broke down some of the walls that the Japanese had against it, being that it's an American made system, So with that being said, going into the next system, we can only wait and see. And see. But just going into conclusion, I'm going to give go around the table, final thoughts on the topics that we covered today. So, Brother Nelson, what are your thoughts on everything that we discussed?
Well, let's recap real quick. For the always online compatibility, y'all do that, I'm done with gaming. The whole guy getting fired, fuck him. I'm just letting it like it is. Fuck him. He wasn't important to begin with any goddamn ways. And this whole thing with the backwards compatibility thing, y'all just need to be smart, think this out carefully, and just put it all into one console. Don't make it as an accessible, attachment or an external thing like y'all did with the HD hard drive to play DVD movies. You don't need that. Just build it all into the console.
All right. Before I go to Shinwar, I just wanted to point out, external peripherals of that nature, like Nelson said, the HD DVD drive, 32X, Sega CD, all that stuff, they never sell well. History has shown it's never sold well. You know what I mean? So, just saying that to put out for those of them that actually watch this broadcast, keep that in mind, Microsoft. That's not a good look. All right, Brother Shin, what are your final thoughts on everything in recap?
I'm looking forward to the conference, to the press conference that Microsoft is going to have. Even though everything we're hearing is rumors, I'll just wait and see. Deep down, I hope none of it's true. And if it is, honestly, I'm still going to get one. Still going to get the new Xbox and probably the PS4 as well. But I'm not going to be too happy about it. But we just have to wait and see. And just real quick, I wanted to touch on what you just said about the 32X and everything. All week I was watching YouTube videos about it, and it was really just a cluster. And I'm not saying that the new one with the Xbox on is going to be like that, but you're right. Didn't sell well back then. And I think when we were younger, we thought it was cool. But now that we're older, we're like, what was Sega thinking? CD, 32X. None of the stuff, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. It was really just a waste of money.
But Sega's... go ahead. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm good.
Go ahead.
No,
Yeah. To add to what you were saying before I give on your knees his section. You see, Sega shot themselves in the foot because they kept releasing the add-ons one after another. You know what I mean? They didn't give it enough time to mature and develop more content, things like that. And by the time the Sega Saturn was coming around, the Sega CD, the 32X became obsolete. You know what I mean? So if they're marketing it right, they shouldn't have too many issues. So we'll see. You made some good points there, Brother Shin. And thank you for being on your first podcast with us. All right. So, on your knees, what are your thoughts on this whole topic recap?
Microsoft, don't be greedy and don't fuck it up. That's it. That's all I got to say.
Hey.
Everyone else said everything.
Order fans,
So.
this is how we are, like, you know, in real life. We're just crazy like that. All right. Demizzle, what are your thoughts on everything in retrospect?
All right. As Nelson said about Adam Orth, fuck that guy. He got what is deserved. He brought it on himself. As far as the always online, I'm more optimistic about it not happening, considering what's come before and the things that we brought up about what can potentially go wrong with it. So I'm pretty sure it's not going to happen. And as far as the backwards compatibility thing, I think it can be good. Because as you look at it, like, look at the Xbox 360 backwards compatibility and a PlayStation 3 backwards compatibility. When you look at it, only a small segment of those user bases actually used it. Like, I'm part of that small user base, but it's something that I would probably get. And it's like I always been looking into devices like Roku and Google and Apple TV. So if they do it and it includes those features, it is something that I would definitely get for $99 or $129 to set beside my Xbox. So it wouldn't be that big of a deal for me. But if they do, in fact, do the online all the time thing and where you can't play used games and everything, like, I hate to say this, but I wouldn't get the next Xbox console. PlayStation 4 will more than likely be my next generation console. Would be the only console that I get. Point blank.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Now, Demizzle, before I give Nuke the floor, right in this generation, especially for the Xbox games, backwards compatibility is extremely important. It has too many titles out for it to not be backwards compatible. If I can't play Metal Gear Rising or play Devil May Cry or some of the late cycle games that are coming out on the current gen, and then I have to go back and forth, that's not cool. They need to find some way to make sure that the support still exists in a more financially manageable way for the consumer. Because at the end of the day, the cost, if that puts people off, they're not going to get it. And just like you said, you know, no used games and all this other stuff, people cannot afford it on this strained economy right now. So I just wanted to add that into your segment. But Brother Noop, what are your thoughts before we get ready to get out of here?
Yeah, you touched on something I was going to say, looking at the economy and spending money. And my thing is this, the guy who got fired, whatever, you got fired. I mean, remember, you know, who you represent. Always online.
Voice.
You're fired.
Yeah, that's messed up.
But always online, you know, I don't think the world is not quite ready, man. Like, I know people right now who still don't even have internet, period. You know, no, they ain't even got that. Looking for them free AOL disc, yo, at the grocery store. Nah,
I used to do that. It was time.
Hey, yo, now with the backwards compatibility, like you said, Alex, there's just too many. I mean, the Gear series, man, I got to be able to, you know, feed that need. Now, with the additional set-top box, the only thing that would justify buying that so I could play backwards compatibility, it would have to have features and things that the console that I bought doesn't have. Like you're saying, it's going to have Roku, Apple TV. I'm pretty sure they're going to put that in the console too. So either they're not going to put that in the console, or they're just going to, because you got to have more of an appeal to that set-top thing than just, it has streaming capabilities. Well, with this big new masterful, powerful Xbox, shouldn't that have it too? You know, what are you really selling me is what I want to know. That thing is really going to have to be worth it for me to buy 2 pieces of hardware. That's a lot. And then they're coming out with another Kinect camera, so that's really 3 pieces of hardware.
Well, the Kinect camera is supposed to come with it.
The Kinect camera is coming with it. You have to have it with the system.
So now, automatically, let's say I have cable in my living room. When I buy the new Xbox, I'm going to have 2 more pieces of equipment in front of my TV. That's a lot.
And that's like the 32X and all that.
Yeah. Like entertainment setup clutter. Like you don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see, I still have my original Xboxes that were modded. I had to take those off to put my PS3 and the Xbox there.
Yep.
And now with a new system coming, or 2 new systems coming, I don't have enough space here. And some of you already seen my setup here. I can't. Where am I gonna put it? You know, so. That's all I got, and thank you all for participating in this podcast. This was a great show, as always. Brother Shin, we want you to do more with us because you bring some good insight and help me out, just like Demizzle has, just like Brother Noop, On Your Knees, and my partner in crime, Nelson. So, Nelson, do you have any announcements for the group or just in general?
Well, dag, dude, what the crap? Going in bad hard, yo.
What?
All right, just to remind you real quick, I don't know if you guys caught on already, but we're doing something called Tournament Tuesdays. Every Tuesday around from 6 p.m. Eastern Time to around 10 p.m. Eastern Time, we're doing like casual gatherings, whether if it's Street Fighter, Dead or Alive, Injustice, which should be dropping next week Tuesday, and any other major fighting game that we can incorporate into tournaments. Also, be sure to check out Demizzle's YouTube channel, where he's actually doing side-by-side video pieces of classic gaming with arcade and,
Battle versus.
Also, stay tuned for updated events. We are in the process of making an actual GoDaddy website, just to let you know out there. So we'll be getting a little bit more legit with that. And also,
Can we get Danica Patrick?
God.
One day at a time. One day at a time. And also, we would like to hear the feedback from you guys. If you guys want to mention any topics that you might want us to talk about or discuss on this show, by all means, just send it to either myself or Alex on the Fighting Game League on Twitch, or just send it to our email addresses. We'll get back to you as soon as possible with that.
Alrighty. And with that, we're about to sign off. And for Tournament Tuesdays, that's a stream to watch. People get stream blow ups, some crazy Street Fighter fights be going down, especially the infamous Gal versus Ryu rivalry that was just birthed.
I want my rematch.
Dang.
You want it, you got it. So, and if you want to get into that oven, bring it. We don't care who it is. It could be Microsoft, Gutex, whoever. Bring it. Come into our lobbies. We'll take care of business. All right. So this has been the New Fighting Order podcast for April. We'll probably come back at you next week, and we'll see you next time on the New Fighting Order podcast show. Peace.
Rogaine, we know you're listening.